Welcome to Extreme Radio presented by GracePointe Healthcare. Go to GracePointeHealthcare.com. Request your appointment online. $20 off your new patient office visit fee when you mention Amen Extreme. GracePointe Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. Sponsored by Jets Pizza of Springfield, Fort Campbell, Clarksville, and Goodlettsville. Let's get Jets. All right.
Let's get this intro right.
Round of applause for our producer, Jack Helwig, and also round of applause to James Shannon for setting up the equipment without clicking the right buttons. Round of applause, James Shannon.
I didn't click any buttons.
Hey, I got the coaches clapping too, so I mean.
Okay, all right, I see how it is.
We are live from Panama City Beach for the 2020 NHSA National Championship. Called 2 semis yesterday for the first time in Amen Extreme's history.
Stayed up for 42 hours straight.
Yeah, how about, well, you stayed up for 42 hours straight. Zachary got, 3 hours, 4 hours of sleep?
I got 3 hours on Thursday night.
The first time I've ever seen you have such a defeated look on your face consistently throughout the entire day. But you showed up for the semis, though. You showed up on air.
Dude looked like his body left his soul all day.
Yeah.
And that's even with all 3 of them sleeping in the car and, like, someone sleep farting on the way down.
I got
TMI for the show.
TMI for the show.
We got back to the place yesterday.
My guy who's dropped the H-bomb.
Ate dinner, and then 20 minutes later I was out, and I didn't even wake up until 11 o'clock this morning.
Right. Hey, I mean, not a sponsor, but all of us. Shout out to who was it that got us back? Shout out to Coach.
Listen to the show.
Yeah. Shout out to
Coach
Coach Wilson. Yeah. Not
he
a sponsor.
Good.
I got Pina Colada.
Not a sponsor, could be.
Pina Colada's pretty good. It's not too bad. You got Star.
The drive down was power bang. I think I had 3 on the way down.
3 on the way down.
Listen, when they come out with a key lime pie flavor, okay.
That 3 bangs, stepping out of the car several times, having to walk around to get your blood circulating again. Zach going in between the downward and upward sleeping position the entire ride down, and Jack
I don't know how you did that. Like, we're 30 minutes away. I'm like, I went to go talk to you, and you're like.
I had no intentions of being awake.
That's how you have to sleep on it.
I had no intent.
It was actually probably a good thing the suitcase was between y'all.
Yeah.
Because you were, like, separated, and then you could, like, sleep and not cuddle, and, you know.
I mean,
I'm not even going to get into who would have been the big spoon, little spoon. But anyway,
listen,
stop.
all I know is, like, as soon as I hit 1 in the morning, I was out, and then you woke me up an hour before we were supposed to get there, and I was like, why am I awake with an hour to spare? And here's the thing. You did not let me go back to sleep. Like, once there was you were talking to me, there was everything.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said about that, though, because when you're on road trips like that, talking to somebody, at least for me, that keeps me awake.
Well,
so that's what I was trying to do.
James kept waking me up because he couldn't stay in his own lane.
No.
That is true. That is
qualify,
true.
I did not realize Florida had rumble strips in the middle of the road.
He didn't, yeah.
So I drive towards the middle of the road. So one little move, it's.
Oh, goodness. Hey, it was a good trip. It was worth it.
But my guy, producer Jack, when we got on the road, he was like, my guy, I'm going to keep you awake. I'm going to do everything in my power to be there for you.
And
I was so hyped. And then, like, 1 in the morning, I look back, and he's gone. Like, we hadn't even hit Bama yet, and he's like, my guy.
Can you blame me?
My guy.
Long car ride.
It was a long car ride.
I was tired.
But it was worth it. So let's get into our usual game recaps. We'll start first with the unfortunate forfeit for Lancaster Christian Academy, who was set to collide with the Franklin Christian Academy Falcons. And for the first time since 2015, the Falcons have a berth in the TSIAA Championship. And I'll start with you, James. It's one of those situations where Lancaster was hot off of a 40-0 win against Christian Community, the runner-up for the 2019 state championship. And as much as it's bad for them, I mean, they had to take the precautions with a positive COVID-19 test. And kudos to FCA. I mean, this is going to be an ultimate test for them as they've been off 5 weeks without a game as they go into a state championship. So,
well, first off, they didn't just beat CCS. They whooped CCS on their home field.
Yep.
So all the momentum was with Lancaster. FCA got a massive break. Like, COVID needs to get a Christmas card from FCA because, like, anyways. I'm still a proponent of they should have allowed – I understand Ezel Harding was in protocol, but there should have been something done to make it to where Ezel Harding took Lancaster's place because they did beat them earlier this season.
The only problem is that would have been 14 days. So they would have been the semis. It would have been the night before – it's 10 to 14 days, so it would have been the night before the week of the championship for them to play.
So move the championship game.
I mean, they could have, but the next week is Thanksgiving.
I'm just saying.
So that's a big issue.
I know TSIAA is dealing with a situation where one of the games got no contested.
Yeah.
So it's just a tough situation. You hate to see that for Lancaster. You hate to see for Ezel Harding. FCA, I mean, they're going to walk right in, but at the same time, walking right in means 5 weeks off.
My man, you don't get to see Deuce Bragg in playoff primetime. You got to see him once with the Christian Community game, but you get to see Zach
You don't
Dooley.
get to see him against a good defense.
Another thing is, like, yes, of course, we're upset that Lancaster is out, but we have the 2 1 seeds playing against each other. So at the end of the day, you have the 2 best teams who work their way throughout the season, losing a combined 1 game. So, I mean, it's strength on strength with Southaven going up 18-0 the first game, and then FCA putting the 23 points in the third quarter to win 23-18 last time. So it's going to be a good one.
Anything from you on that one, Producer Jack?
No,
no comment.
Yeah, you went into it on sound off last week.
Well, we'll get into a segment a little bit, but you were saying.
I would like to hold all my comments till sound off.
Facts.
And then
all right, fair enough. And the playoff game we were at before we headed down here to Florida, the Southaven Patriots 52, the Lighthouse Lions 8. And, of course, Lighthouse, they were set to collide with Ezel Harding in the first round and got a break there. They advanced to the semifinals. And, James, it was predicted everyone took Southaven to take the win, but it was 20-8 at one point. It was a difference of a 12-point game, and then Southaven, once they turned on the Jets, I mean it's one of these teams in Coach Sawyer's and everybody involved that when they have to win under the spotlight and try to get their first home playoff win, they stepped up to the task.
Well, it was also 0-0 and 8-0 at one point. So
yep,
that's a little bit easier hill to climb than 20-8. But the only disappointing thing about this game is that Christian Sharp didn't make a John Cena Royal Rumble return. It kind of happened the way that you thought it would. Southaven, actually, it wasn't so much beating Lighthouse that was the problem. It was making sure none of the other guys got hurt before next week.
Right.
And they accomplished that goal Friday along with winning the game. So that's a win-win, going into Saturday against FCA.
And how about Emmanuel Dang? He only had maybe 3 carries that night, but the one major carry he had that resulted in a touchdown, just 5, 6, 7 tackles that he spun out of.
10 tackles.
Oh.
He broke 10 tackles on that.
And there's only 8 guys on the field.
Yes. He broke 10 tackles.
Like, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but how do you tackle a guy, miss, get back up and say, all right, and get the opportunity again, and then miss the tackle once again?
Dang was standing.
Did you grab the headphones, by the way?
I don't need headphones.
Okay.
I can hear you. Trust me, you guys are loud enough.
The echo in the Promised Land chapel.
So Dang was standing on the sideline, and there was 7 players from Lighthouse on top of him, and they couldn't bring him down. And then, but Lighthouse really, we knew it was gonna be tough for them anyways. But like they kept getting themselves into scoring position to the inside the red zone, and then they get a false start, a holding.
Yeah, it's not like they didn't prepare. I mean, you could see it all week on social media. They were preparing. Mm-hmm. They didn't take this game lightly. They didn't roll in going, yeah, we know we're gonna lose. We're just mentally prepared to get whooped.
Their thing was they weren't good enough. They weren't good enough to come from behind from Southaven.
Right.
And they got the ball, and they moved it really well.
Right.
They had the athletes. And another thing, the reason they needed to get up 2-3 scores is because they don't have the depth that Southaven did.
Exactly.
So
That's
them only having 10, 11 players, by the end, when they threw the pick 6 at halftime, you could tell it was just that their soul left them.
Yeah.
They clocked it in at that point. But congratulations to the Patriots. They advance against the Franklin Christian Academy Falcons. Rematch of both of their first games of the season. And that championship at 7 o'clock on Saturday. 12 hours later, we turned around and got here to Panama City Beach and at Pete Edwards Field to host 2 semifinal matchups for the national championship. We start with Ezekiel Academy, who kicked off the day at high noon, 34-0. Southern Prep, they held them. It was a 0-0 score in the first quarter, and Ezekiel didn't get a touchdown until about 6:24 left to go in the second quarter. And from there, they just started firing on all cylinders. So Ezekiel Academy looking as strong as ever, and chance for them to go 12-1 tomorrow night.
You want me to go?
Yeah, let's have the PA announcer go first, since you didn't get to say really anything on air.
But you were shown on air.
You were shown on air a few times.
Without knowing. Nah, I mean, Southern Prep's got athletes. They come out, being a military school, very organized, very disciplined. They made some key mistakes earlier on in the game, some plays that were questionable, and Ezekiel kind of getting going first quarter, and then once that second quarter got going, still 19-0 wasn't, it's comebackable. But once they hit that third quarter and started going, there was no stopping them. And you know, Southern had a couple of big plays that got called back for penalties. So yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where it just took a minute to get going, but once you got going, there wasn't a whole lot of stopping them.
And there were a lot of opportunities for Southern Prep. I think they had a few touchdowns that were called back on penalties.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
That was what James alluded to. And those penalties hadn't been called, it would have been a lot more of a competitive game.
No, yeah, but those make up for the other ones earlier in the game. So I wouldn't say Southern Prep was disciplined. I wouldn't go that far.
Well, that's true, and that's fair.
But Southern Prep, like, what were they ranked nationally? 12?
They were 12.
They were 12. So they were in the same situation Lighthouse was Friday night, where they really couldn't afford to make any mistakes, and then they made tons of mistakes throughout the game. But Ezekiel dominated from the start of the game to the end. There really was, like, their first drive, it took 6 minutes off the clock. They weren't able to punch it in, but they really took control of the game early.
Right. I know you probably talked about it on air. Some of the hits that happened yesterday, what are your thoughts on? Were there any of them that were legal?
Any of them that were legal?
Yes.
No.
None of them?
No.
Okay. That's fair.
I mean, we have Austin Gay, and he was on the sideline, and he took a hit two steps out
pretend
of
like
bounds.
he's not there.
In the fence.
I'm not there. No, I'm not. But, like, he two steps out of bounds, then gets hit helmet to helmet, pushed into the wall. Very first play of the game.
Not even the wall.
I'm
was
not
the fence
defending-
there.
Hold on,
I'm not
hold on.
defending Southern's. I'm not defending the plays.
And then Jackson probably bring up the very first play of the game where the guy catches the ball, falls on the ground,
And then
Southern Prep dives helmet to helmet, hits him helmet to helmet. No flag came out.
All I'm going to say is, because me and James obviously weren't commentating the game, it was these two. I made the comment, I said, he hit him so hard out of bounds that the fence underneath was dented.
Yeah, you can see it dented from the press box.
You cannot tell me he wasn't forcibly pushed out of bounds whenever, because if he meant to run out of bounds, I promise you he wouldn't have just said, I'm going to slam into this as hard as I can. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, like, I'm just saying.
He's going to hit it with a shoulder tackle.
Forgive me. You're not going against the fence here. You got 8 other players you got to play against. I don't know what that friends did to you pregame, my guy, but listen.
Yeah, it was a premeditated fence hit. It may have been, but
There was just some that I was just scratching my head. I don't know how.
I don't know what
you
you were. I don't know what you were on watching that play, but I want some of it.
Well, regardless, you got anything else, Zach?
I don't.
Okay. Any other?
I think that had they had started hot and then cooled off the rest of the game, I think it'd be a different vibe going into tomorrow than starting off, a little rough, starting off cold, and then hitting your stride and really getting going as the game went on. I think that's the kind of game you want to have going into tomorrow.
The defense was suffocating in the second half.
Yes.
They weren't. Southern Prep wasn't doing anything.
They hit the 2 long passes to Baumgartner, the 2 bombs.
Yes.
That's the kind of stuff you want to get going and get on the same page with. Yep. Because being off for a week, traveling down here, it kind of throws your rhythm off a little bit at times, I would think. And so once you can do plays like that you've been doing on a consistent basis, then you're going to feel more comfortable and then you're going to be vibing.
And how about Baumgartner getting those 2 touchdowns? Well, I'd be interested to see his stat line throughout the entire season.
And you got the mane flowing in the wind.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Congratulations to the Ezekiel Academy Knights on their shutout win. They have a trip to the National Championship for the first time in their program history against the Evangel Christian School Lightning, who the back-to-back defending national champions have one more game to win before they potentially three-peat, as they had a dominant 42-13 win against the Tennessee Heat. And the storyline for the game went like this: the Tennessee Heat started out strong, 7-0 lead, and then Evangel. They just knew we do not want to try and dig ourselves out of a deficit more than it is right now, and shut them out almost. I think it wasn't 42-7 going
42.
into halftime.
It was 35-7 going into halftime.
No, it was 34.
34.
It was 34-7 going into halftime because there were 1 point.
35.
No?
35.
Mm-hmm.
They made every extra
Oh, that's
point.
right. You did get every extra point.
Yeah, that's the extra point. So 35-7 going into halftime, and then one more touchdown for each team in the second half. Probably I think fourth quarter. But
Fourth
Tennessee,
quarter with 6 minutes left for the Heat. So.
You have to wonder how much of this national stage.
Lightning backups.
You have to wonder how much of this national stage maybe rattled the mentality of the Tennessee Heat because they've never been here before.
Yeah.
And this is not the Tennessee Heat team we've seen throughout the season or in that matchup earlier when they were in Alabaster to collide for that regular season matchup. So it's tough on the Tennessee Heat to have such a successful season, only loss in 8-man football being to Evangel, so undefeated in 8-man football in Tennessee. And 11-man losing to the Webb School. So it's tough, but still a positive season for the Tennessee Heat.
No, and 100%. You saw what happened last year when they went to Naka and played, of course, 11-man. I understand that.
Yep.
But played a team out of Maryland who didn't have a great season. They struggled there. You get into the first part of the season, they play CCS, who's been CCS.
Yep.
They hadn't beat CCS in 10 years, and they had to come back from behind and get a block punt to win. They played Ezel Harding, had to throw a touchdown with 4 seconds to win. The ability of these guys to get a mentality of going, hey, look, we are better than them, and be able to block out the stage. When you have some of these younger guys, that's harder to do. And some of the older guys even on the team that haven't been through that.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of what's going on with CCS. They have these younger guys who haven't been in these situations where there's adversity. And so you have to learn how to work through that. And that's what these guys are doing now. And for the Heat, I'll tell you what helped Evangel is, I don't even think the Heat could catch COVID. It was rough yesterday.
You got some people laughing in here, but it was there were a lot of drop passes on both sides.
There wasn't
of the
just a
ball.
lot.
And I
There
say
was almost
that.
all of them. I'm sorry.
And
to
I
say
say that. I say that. And everyone's been like, "Oh, you got Heat bias. You love the Heat." No, I'll call them. I'll call the shots when they need to be called, and they need to be called right there.
He came out, scored first, goes 7-0. Evangel goes down, and they score 7-7. I think, we're set up for a great game. And then
I thought it was going to be
Right,
more high
exactly.
scoring.
exactly 35-7 at halftime.
Both of you are like, producer Jack goes, "Hey, I'm going over under 100."
I actually said that because they both scored with ease, and then all of a sudden the Heat just said, "I'm gonna run misdirection 4 out
Every
of my
play.
5."
How about Mast?
Every play.
How about Mast hitting every point after, and then getting robbed on the field goal try?
It's kind of like
You don't think it was intentional that
I
they
do
set
not
up
think
that
it was
play?
intentional. Was it? Was it intentional?
Was it?
That's
Okay,
snap-
it
no, that's
wasn't.
snap
It was
time.
not. I knew that play was not intentional. Here's why. He rolls out, and he's thinking about running, and then he pulls it back to throw, and then he's looking. If it was designed, somebody would have gotten open. Okay? Just saying.
What you were saying?
To quote Forrest Gump, "I may not be a smart man, Jenny, but I know when a bad snap is a bad snap."
all
That
I'm
wasn't
gonna
really Forrest
say
Gump,
is
but
it's like they were prepping for pregame warmups, and they saw, Ezekiel is doing misdirection. They're doing play fakes. I like that. Let's do it every single play of the game. Maybe we'll win. Whenever we watched them, like when we played the Colts, they did not look like the same team. I'm just gonna be completely honest.
No.
They didn't.
No.
So
And that was
but
back.
that's also credit to Evangel coming out and doing what they did. It's not like
no, I'm
If-
not discarding.
here's the thing: if you run misdirections, that means that you don't think straight up that you can beat them.
yeah.
So that's what they were doing. They're trying to get misdirections and trying to get Evangel into spaces. And what Evangel did yesterday was get themselves into one-on-one situations, and he couldn't tackle.
No.
And Lodge,
Unfortunately,
oh my
yeah.
goodness.
Jet Lodge.
Jet
man.
Lodge.
Evangel, I don't think had one missed tackle. I'm gonna be completely honest.
I
They're
don't think they
wrapping.
did.
They wrapped up in every single play. They were there was no. Whenever the skill positions were stopped, they always wrapped up, and that's.
I seem to
really
remember
key.
several Roman Reigns moments,
And we knew it was going to be a different game with Jet Lodge being outside and Whitfield being back in the game because he was out in that.
Yeah, that's the
Evangel
thing.
Heat
Like the
game.
first time they played, it was like, okay, Jet
It was Jet Lodge the entire time.
and Howard and Davis,
Well,
but
Davis
and
himself. on
yeah,
the
Davis with like
defensive
2 or
end,
3 picks. Yeah,
Davis on the defensive end was he was a shutdown yesterday.
Yep. Yeah.
Shut
I
him
will
down.
say I think one of the brighter points yesterday for the Heat probably Luchtefeld.
Oh yeah.
Had a couple plays he made.
He was the only one that could tackle Jet Lodge.
Yeah.
Literally the only guy that could tackle.
You're calling out his.
Wow.
He was the only one stopping Lodge the majority of the time. So they did a lot of touchdowns.
No, he's the only. I'm pretty sure he's the only one that tackled Jet Lodge.
Hey,
I really do.
Hey, off question. Off question. Who do y'all want to see in a 41 person from each team?
Are you asking me?
I
Y'all.
want
Yeah.
Davis from Evangel.
Yes.
No.
I want.
I would have gone Jet.
I would go.
The dude literally has
Murphy
Jet in
from
his name.
Ezekiel.
That is
That,
true.
I don't think he's that fast.
Murphy from Ezekiel.
My guy, you want to race?
I'm playing. I was making a comment.
Well, you did
My
that
guy.
40-yard dash with Dang. You should do one
To
with
be
Jet.
fair,
My guy,
to be
hold on.
fair, I have.
Oh,
not.
he ain't in there. He ain't in here.
Which
My
one?
guy, I will literally find Jet and tell him you called him out
I never
on air.
I never called him out. I was making fun of him because he never said his name.
You said, I don't think Jet's that fast.
Oh,
No,
man.
we digress. We digress.
All right. Well, congratulations to the Evangel Christian School Lightning. They have a chance to three-peat their national title.
Wait, you said Murphy?
Oh,
Yes,
you're
definitely.
still on
Well,
this.
Murphy yesterday when he got.
No, but who was your 4? Murphy?
I went Murphy, Davis. I don't have the other roster, so
You looking for the Heat?
yeah, I need Heat.
Who do you
Let's
think
see
the
that.
fast?
You said
I want to see
Luchtefeld.
Hackle from the Heat.
I don't know about Hackle.
Hackle's all right.
Okay.
I don't know
all
about Hackle.
That's fair.
Maybe Luchtefeld. I mean, Luchtefeld chased down
He's
Davis.
got some short legs, though.
That doesn't matter.
It
Tyreek Hill has
matters.
short legs.
It matters.
Luchtefeld is not Tyreek Hill. Sir. Anyways.
Not at this point, but congratulations. A chance to three-peat their national title as they advance to collide with the Ezekiel Academy Knights. And for the Tennessee Heat and Southern Prep, they play for a consolation game at high noon tomorrow. So while our guests are getting their microphones turned on, we don't have the bracket preloaded, but the TSIAA bracket is set. The South Haven Christian School Patriots and the Franklin Christian Academy Falcons collide this coming Saturday for the state championship and for essentially Division II, the equivalent of the TSIAA Bowl championship. Riverside Christian Academy collides with Franklin Classical School at 2 p.m. So it's 2 and 7 p.m. are when those games are at May Flanders Field in White House, Tennessee. We'll be there for both of those. James and Jack get to call the Division II championship, and then we'll have a full crew for the state championship at 7.
So
Can't wait to call a game with this guy. This Jack Wagon over here.
All right. Well, we have our guest, James. Why don't you go ahead and introduce our special guest?
All right. So obviously, every year before the show before the state championship, we bring in the state coaches, but obviously that cannot happen this year. It could have, but
I mean,
there
it
would be
could.
some-
They would
it
have
could.
to come down. Yeah.
So instead, we have the national championship coaches, as well as a player from each team. So at this time, I'd like to let them introduce themselves. Obviously, everyone knows Coach Tim Smith, Coach Hunter Wilson, not Collins, Spencer. And then Austin Gay, Daniel Viles.
All
Okay.
right, and
My bad, bro. My bad. I know you by your number.
All right. Well, we'll just do a round table for each of these
Plus,
questions.
I didn't see you with your helmet off, so I couldn't put
That
a
is
number with
true.
that face.
That is true.
That's usually what I end up doing.
So, Coach Wilson, I'll start with you. No, I'll start with you. Of course, this is Ezekiel Academy's first time coming down to the NHSA tournament, and you mentioned before the games yesterday that you had to talk with the administration a little bit to get them to come down because of the opportunity. So, your thoughts on how you guys feel about being here in Florida and what the experience has been like for you for the first time.
Yeah, this has been a great opportunity. Very thankful.
Hang on.
You got his microphone on?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay.
Did you get it
They should all be synced in.
synced?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Go ahead again.
You're good.
Yeah, we were very happy to have this opportunity. It's been great so far. A little bit of an adjustment coming in. Thankfully, Hank and Coach Smith have been huge help with getting us acclimated to this, and so it's been a very smooth experience so far. It's different. I had some pushback with it being a week later because of basketball. Our administration took care of that, thankfully. And then, some questions about the format, some concern, but, Hank does such an excellent job running this that all those concerns were put to rest. We're just very, very fortunate, very blessed to have this opportunity, especially in a year like this.
And now, Austin, Hank always mentions about the national tournament that is a chance for the players to bond and have an experience unlike any other. So in the days you guys have been here since Friday, just what kind of bonding have you had with the players? How much more intimate of this experience is it compared to the season?
Well, during the season, we're really just around each other during practice and at the games. And, we have a little tailgate and stuff like that every now and then with the players. But for the most part, it's just been in the same house, being able to spend time with each other, quality time, being able to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner together every day. Just getting to know them away from football practice, just in chill time.
And yeah.
All right, I got to ask this, okay? So I'm going to give you a chance to put somebody on blast. It's not going to be anything that's gonna break down team chemistry. I've got you. I got you. Who has the worst hygiene in that house?
Cecil Goon.
You didn't have to think about it.
Is he right?
I would agree.
Cecil, bub. Was he use axe?
Fun fact, I was in the room with Cecil when I had to change rooms.
Was he use axe? Nothing.
I'm not sure.
Cecil, my guy. Listen.
But would you expect it to be anyone but an offensive lineman?
That is
Oh,
fair
hold
enough.
on.
Let's be honest.
Hold up.
Hey, there's a reason they're called the Big Nasties. Okay, I mean there's a reason for that. You know, I mean.
My guy. Let's just move on.
To be fair,
Daniel, you have anyone? Who's the worst hygiene in your house?
I would probably say Xenia Stallings.
Wow.
Definitely, without question.
So both of you guys calling out juniors on that, but
what's so bad about it?
We need a reason.
There's nothing. He doesn't use
he
anything.
just is.
My guy,
wakes up.
speed stick.
It's like putting a cat in water. To get him to take a shower. It's pretty bad.
Oh goodness! But this is the second time that Evangel has been down to Florida. Of course, 2018, you did participate in the national championship when you went up to Fort Bluff in Tennessee. Has there been anything different in the bond that you've had with these guys as compared to previous years?
So as a freshman or as a sophomore and a junior, I would definitely say that I felt with a different group of guys. A part of the team, but not really connected to the teammates. This year, I definitely feel like we as a team have bonded more on this trip than any other trip. Definitely, this has been the closest team I've ever been with, and I would just say definitely throughout this trip, it's the closest I've ever been with a group of guys, and I'm really thankful for it.
And Coach Smith, as I mentioned, Evangel has been part of the NHSA at least the last 3 years. You guys have been in the national championship. In this experience, I know that one of you guys brought down barbecue and has been able to smoke some stuff there. But what do you? Is there anything different from this year in previous years past when you've been at the helm of this team?
Yeah, to me, it's a group of kids every year, and it's different every year because you got different leadership. Last year we had 2 young men baptized, and about an hour and a half ago we baptized one of our kids. In fact, he's in here, Riley.
Oh, there you go.
He got baptized in the
Give
Gulf.
an applause.
Shout out to. I think he is an Instagram follower too.
Yeah.
So we've been very
Consider that a
blessed
call
in
out
lot
if
of
you.
ways.
I apologize.
Not just football, but God's brought us together. We have a great group of leaders. Not just the seniors. We got a smallest senior class that I've had since I've been here. I think we got 6. And
Wow.
so we have a good group of young kids. So and they're stepping up fast.
So it's fair to say 2020 has been a hectic year for everybody. It's been crazy all around, and the fact that we're able to sit here at a round table and be at this resort and be able to have a national championship when back in March, April, we didn't even know that high school football was going to happen in majority of states. And of course,
At least in Tennessee.
with us in Tennessee, we didn't know. I know in Alabama, football is very huge as well as in Tennessee. So
I mean, the fact that we're still having games canceled where we are in Tennessee
the
right
playoffs,
now.
yeah.
In the playoffs.
Yeah. It's been crazy. So how much more meaningful is this season compared to others of that you're able to get to this point with everything that's been going on in our nation?
Yeah, we've talked about it quite often, that we took it. I told them in the summer when they finally released us and allowed us to come back and we could do certain things, work out. We couldn't do any hitting or hitting dummies or anything. We told them we're just going to take it one day at a time. We didn't know if we'd get to game 1, much less game 11. We didn't know if we would get to Selma, Alabama for our kickoff game or if we'd make it to Panama City. So we just took it 1 week at a time. And we have one that's not here today. We have a kid that's missing.
Yeah, and Daniel, as a senior leader, of course, in the past, you've been building up to this point to where to step up into that leadership role. What would you say, which challenges have you had this year that have better prepared you to step into that leadership role as a senior?
Challenges this year has just been really, as Coach said, in the summer when we were working out and practicing not as much as a team, everyone was really uneasy about how the season would turn out, and a lot of the people that played baseball had actually been their season got canceled, and they were really down about how they're feeling about the football season remaining, and the biggest obstacle is keeping them optimistic about it, because we didn't know if we were promised the next game. All we had was we didn't know if we had one more practice in us, so that was the biggest obstacle.
Austin, I'll give the same question to you. As you also have a unique position as being the senior quarterback as well. So how did you keep the optimism up for you and your guys?
Well, I just tried to keep my guys' head on a swivel. Just letting them know, hey, it feels a Tuesday. This could be the last Tuesday that we ever get to participate in any group activity with football-related stuff. So, learn, soak in what you can. For the younger guys especially, these seniors, this may be your last time being around the seniors. And, the seniors on the football team, we may not have been around this universe for a long time, but we got more knowledge than the sophomore and freshmen do. So just take in what you can while you can, and don't take it for granted.
And same to you, Coach. To build up to this point and having to worry about, can we even practice in the off season? Are we able to have any games and such? What did you go through?
Right. Well, it started out with us, with the homeschool organizations. We don't have a lot of times we don't really know our full roster until we actually start practice. And so that was the first challenge, is really just trying to reach out to find out exactly who we were going to have, and communicate via Zoom, email, however we were able to do it, and get everybody on the same page. So really for us, I would say, for instance, our starting running back, Bishop Spackman, we didn't have him until about 2 weeks before, just because he didn't really know about it. And so that was a huge challenge for us, is getting the word to the right people that because, I know Evangel's big, but Ezekiel also, we've got over 800 families, participating at Ezekiel. And so, we've got kids, and Coach Smith can attest to this too. We've got kids in our schools that don't even realize we're playing sports. And so it's a challenge to us not walking down the halls with these kids every day to get the word out. So I would say that was our first challenge. And then after that, it was just, trying to keep a close eye on all the federal, state, and local guidelines. I mean, we had a practice schedule, and, the mayor of Montgomery comes out and says, he releases this 5 or 6 page mandate, and we're sitting there digging through to see if we can even practice that day. And so, we just kind of, like Austin said, every day we made the most of it, and we preached every week, hey guys, this could be your last game. You don't know what the governor, what the president, governor, or the mayor of wherever we're going to play that week, you don't know what they're going to say. So, that was the challenge, is keeping everybody focused and saying, hey guys, we're working hard towards this tournament, towards this tournament, towards our state championship, and then on a week-by-week basis, but not even knowing if you're going to make it to the end. So that was the biggest challenge, is keeping guys locked in, trying to keep the eye on the end goal, not even knowing if you were going to get there. So
well, my heart goes out for the high school athletes who had their seasons canceled in the spring as well. It's just to get to this point, to be able to be where we are.
I think specifically of guys from Shelby County, Memphis area, just not able to play at all.
I mean, my high school, they got their last game. So this is what happened. The day of their last game, they went virtual. Community high school. Yeah. They went virtual. So they still got the game in. But, they've been virtual for 2 weeks now. And the fact that, all the high schools around our area, especially with the second wave hitting hard in Tennessee right now, they're all starting to go virtual in the playoffs and everything. Teams are starting to lose out.
Well, that's what affected Metro, too, is everyone saying, hey, we're not going to let them come back to school until such and such date. How are they going to have football until then? And that's why it got pushed off until after Labor Day.
What a year to be in education and athletic administration. Oh.
Nah, I'm good, fam.
Right.
I'll pass.
So focusing on the task ahead, this is a unique.
And that's saying it out of respect, because
I
couldn't handle that responsibility
of course. I couldn't either.
At all.
I commend those who handle it. So you got something.
More power to them.
I was going to say one thing so we can wrap up here, just about what things you could take forward, and how great of a privilege it is to play high school football.
Yeah.
Because the thing and I can't remember who told me this, I wish I did, but whenever you grow older and you get, you could be 20, you could be 30 years old, you can always play golf, you can always play baseball, you can always play a pickup game of basketball, you can play tennis. But there's one thing you can never do whenever you reach a certain threshold of your life, and that's play football.
Yeah.
You can't just be 30 years old and go to put on a pair of pads and go play football. That privilege is gone, and it's a lot of things that people don't understand until it's too late. Because there's a lot of things I miss, especially whenever I played. It's like, dang, I really wish I could have done that, or I wish I would have tried harder there. So that's one thing you always got to think about is you really should strive as hard as you can so you never have any type of regrets whenever you play because you will regret it and you want to be able to live that best experience while you have it because it really will be gone and there's no opportunity to remake it back.
Yeah.
So
Well said.
So,
Well said.
so coming down here, and even in your day-to-day life, I want to ask y'all this: what are 3 essentials y'all have to have for in your day?
Start with you, Coach Smith.
Like, what do you mean 3 essentials?
Like just 3 essentials. Like, I got to have these 3 things for my day. Not even to start it, just throughout the day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just kind of an off football question. Just
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I got to have a Dr. Pepper sometime during the day.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
yeah.
Always have a Dr. Pepper. Zingers. Usually. That's what's put the weight on.
Okay.
And,
Is there like non-food?
non-food, yeah, I like to listen to Rick and Bubba every morning.
Okay.
Get a good
Yeah.
laugh.
Yeah.
I do want to say one thing. What do you got?
Producer Jack. Hey, Jack. Yeah.
Yeah.
You kept eyeballing me when you kept saying older people a minute.
Whoa. I definitely did not.
I noticed that
Okay,
too.
no,
He
to
kept
be
looking
fair.
over like older people.
To be fair, I
Going
was
in the
looking
nursing
at
home next
Ezekiel
year.
over here,
Oh,
and
okay.
I feel like I need to be both sides, so I'm looking straight at you, looking behind them.
It's okay. I am old.
Any game day essentials for you, Daniel?
I gotta have coffee in the morning, for sure.
Get them started
Are
early.
you a Dunkin' Donuts or a Starbucks guy?
No, I just like it black.
Okay.
I hate coffee. Coffee's the worst.
Yes.
Oh, it's so bad.
Nobody
Sorry.
asked, nobody
No
asked
offense.
you. Nobody asked you, sir.
And then it's a weird thing to eat on a game day, but I gotta have fruit by the foot.
Okay,
Ooh,
that's
And,
fair.
That's an interesting one.
The last thing, I mean, I gotta have good music before the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Off question. Do you think James played good music as a PA?
I say it was pretty good.
What about
Okay.
Baby Shark? Do you like Baby Shark?
I didn't like
You
that.
know,
I told.
So,
to be fair, I
like
told
that
him
was
to.
all the children in
my
the audience.
suggestion.
So
And
here's the
stands.
thing about that. James wasn't going to play it, but I told him to. So I'll take the blame
I
for
mean,
this one.
it
I'll
started
take the
with
blame for
me,
it.
and then you supported it.
I told
Yeah.
him absolutely
To be
not
fair, I would not have played it. You telling me to play didn't have any
I was trying to give you, like,
Benefit
someone
of the
from
doubt.
the
encouragement.
band.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, all right. That's
to.
fair.
You were like, I want to play for the kids. I counted maybe 5, 6 kids.
See, here's the
There
thing
was
about
no-
it, though.
there were a
Kids
bunch
at
of
heart,
older-
sir.
Hey,
So-
the evangel
Kids at
cheerleaders
heart.
got into it, though. They were doing the whole baby
No,
shark
they
motion
got
and
into
everything.
Sweet Caroline. They had a whole dance and
So
everything
here's
for it.
here's the thing
That
about
was
it.
a good
go-to
choice.
though. That's
So
a go-to.
it started
No,
off
I'm just saying.
with Baby Shark. Everybody knows you either love or hate Baby Shark. So
Yep.
it went from 2 to 3 people doing it to to one whole side of Evangel doing it.
Yep.
Now it started leaking over to the other side, and then the game started again. So I turned it
Okay,
down.
I'm gonna get blasted for this one, and I'm sorry.
Oh, boy.
But the lamest post-game win song you can play is "Party in the USA." Sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Oh, you almost
Speak-
made
speak for your
Tyler
people.
Henson walk out.
Speak for your people.
What's up? What did we see up here? My bad.
So the reasoning behind
Wait,
that,
is Zinnia in here?
Nah, he's
We
not.
put Zinnia on
Don't
blast
smell
for
it
the
good.
worst hygiene.
Yeah, he
Jesus,
agrees.
yeah.
He agrees.
so the reason for that, so my sophomore year when we went down to Dayton, Tennessee, it was up to Dayton, Tennessee. Sorry, we listened to the Beastie Boys,
Ah, okay.
and so we were trying to play that song my junior year, and Miley Cyrus' "Party in the USA" came on, and that's just how it stuck, and it's the
See, but there's
tradition.
like, "All I Do Is Win," "I Like to Win" by Sean Locke.
Right.
But who
So-
do you know that has "Party in the USA" as a
See,
post-game?
Yo,
I
that's-
appreciate
Nobody,
that.
because it's a terrible song.
In high
I know
school,
Ric Flair would never have that. I heard John Cena a while ago. Let's be honest, Ric Flair would never.
No, he wouldn't. have.
in
I
your
walk
def-
in
Did
the
you-
dressing room,
did-
I turn around and walk out.
Did you know? Did y'all notice the score songs when y'all scored a touchdown? Nobody.
You
No,
play
they-
Sweet Home Alabama?
No.
No.
Did anybody out here get this?
He played
He-
Friends in Low Places for one of them.
No, not for your
No, no, no.
touchdown. No, after y'all scored a touchdown, there was a song played for both of y'all.
Just tell them what it was. They don't
Okay,
know.
so y'all got what? So y'all got Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
And then y'all got
South Rollins.
Dean Ambrose.
Okay.
Nice.
But going back to Party USA, I don't think that's near as late as what my high school did.
okay. I had Southern. Hey, listen, I had Kevin Owens for Southern Prep, and I didn't get to play at one time, and I was so mad.
So my high school, after every basketball game, win or loss, played Sweet Caroline, and it gets boring. And there's like
Yeah.
30, 40 games a year.
That's why I only played at one time person
And
per game.
Didn't
Yeah.
y'all have a season where you just like lost every
Oh,
single game?
yeah, yes. We went 2-28 one year, and every game
Okay.
Sweet Caroline played
Okay.
when we going off.
Essentials.
Essentials.
Three
For you,
essentials.
Austin.
Mine's gonna be waking up, reading my everyday Bible verse,
Okay.
coffee in the gym.
All right.
Coach.
I've got to have a Dr. Pepper. Have
Okay.
I
Great
do.
minds think
Too
alike.
cultured. Two cultured
Well,
individuals.
Let's see. After Dr. Pepper is
Another Dr. Pepper.
yeah.
Another Dr.
I have to have my phone with me, and the reasoning is to call people to help me out when I forget things, because I will be at the field and be like, oh shoot, where's my play sheet? And so know I've got great people in my life that'll help me out with that. And then I can't say Dr. Pepper again because we've already done that one, but the third essential would probably
Well, the first one could be a can of Dr. Pepper. The second would be a bottle.
be about
Hunter, can I help Hunter?
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh.
my third essential, I'll say, I was trying not to be too cheesy, but my third essential would be my support system. My great girlfriend, she's always very supportive and helps me out any way she can, whether it's filling coolers up or carrying stuff out there. Man, she's really great. So that would be my three.
Yeah, no one really knows the grind of a coach's girlfriend, a coach's wife. I mean, Coach Smith, you've been at this for hour long about the sport from your.
My wife comes to Evangeline, cuts grass on the zero-turn lawnmowers.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
If I need help, she comes in and helps me cut grass. She's helped me paint the football field. She's pulled the string,
Wow.
She's always there. Wash uniforms. She's done it all 30.
Producer Jack, I
37
think that deserves one from you. Hit it. Your phrase. You're saying.
Which one?
My guy.
Oh.
Oh my God! Hey, I'm just gonna say my lady would never. Never.
And technically, he's the only one in the relationship at this table. So
Right.
there you go.
There we
You go to the gym. One thing you got to do at the gym, because gym was too.
One thing you got to do at the gym, Austin.
I've been working on my triceps lately because they're a little small.
All right, that's fair.
Fair.
I
fair
mean,
enough.
I wouldn't go that far, but so y'all had to so the players had to have coffee, and the coaches had to have Dr. Pepper. So
Both have caffeine.
Both have caffeine.
They have some way to
Are
get the
you
caffeine.
Dunkin' or Starbucks chai?
Oh, coffee and a
Gas
Dr.
station.
Pepper,
That's
Coach.
fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
dude, gas station food's the best.
He said coffee.
But that's still kind of food.
Well, it depends on what gas
qualifies.
station.
Right.
Now, if it's Hunt Brothers
Dude.
Pizza, if it's a slice of Hunt Brothers Pizza,
Oh yeah, Hunt Brothers is pretty.
do y'all
good.
have Hunt Brothers in Alabama?
Yes.
We do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good
The
stuff.
breakfast pizza, that's
Never had the breakfast pizza, but I've had the rest of their stuff. It's pretty good. So.
you're never up early enough to eat their breakfast
No, I'm
pizza.
not. I sleep in.
It's gone before 10 o'clock.
That is true. That is true. All right, so we'll start with you, Coach Wilson. So we like to do this tradition for the state championship question because I mean we could always ask your main goal going into the championship or how do you feel you got to prepare for your opponent and such, but we're not about leaking out secrets on air. So I'll ask, what's one good thing you could say about Evangel from facing against them in the
We're
last
going
few
back to
years?
2016 presidential
I would
debate.
say, I would say in 8-man football, especially Evangel, and I'm not saying just for the state of Alabama. I would say for the nation. Evangel is the standard, and we're fortunate to be that close to them. We're 45, 50 minutes away from them, and I'm new to 8-man. This is technically my third year in it. I was a JV assistant, and then this is my second year being the head coach. And the first thing I was told when I got to Ezekiel was, we've got Evangel. You never want to play Evangel. You can't beat them. And it's as close to true as it gets, man. I'll just be honest with you. Coach Smith has that thing going exactly how it needs to go. You won't find many 6 and 7A high schools that are ran like Evangel. You just won't. Man, his guys are disciplined. They do all the right things. Whether it's Jet Lodge or even go back last year to Tyler Henderson, the best of the best players are going to be just as disciplined as the guys who, are young ninth graders. Because, generally ninth graders are going to fall. No. When you roll up to Evangel, their star players are going to be just as disciplined as the guys on the end of the bench. And, that's just I was told it was the standard. It is the standard. If any 8-man program or any homeschool program or any, like I said, he's right down the road from Thompson, and I know he has a relationship with the Thompson coach and everything, and the utmost respect for him. But listen, it doesn't get better. It just doesn't. So as a coaching staff, as a school, we strive to get ourselves on that level. And like I said, we're fortunate to be so close. I'm fortunate. Coach Smith has always been willing to lend a helping hand to me, and I honestly. He's a mentor to me in that regard, because I walked in new. I played a little bit of college football, nothing too serious, but he has been what got me able to do a lot of what I've done. I attribute a lot of my success personally to Coach Smith, and like I said, chasing that standard.
Well, and how long were the backups in yesterday?
We put them in pretty early in the fourth quarter because it was a hot clock.
Okay, so you went through a whole quarter and they scored 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
On the backups.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Austin?
My thoughts on Evangel is I played football for 12 years, and I've never seen a more disciplined team than what Coach Smith has there at Evangel. And, they've done an outstanding job. I'm new to Ezekiel. I've been there. This is my second year. And, going in last year, Tyler Henderson and his squad come in last year, and they hung up almost 90 points on us. And, it's outstanding work. They put in the work in the off season, and you see it, and it pays off during the season. They're driven, like Coach Hunter said. The seniors, they set the standard, and it was one group, and they just keep following. No matter what age group they are, they keep living up to it, and that is a standard, and that's what everybody looks up to. I myself look up to Tyler Henderson. I want to be able to say that I can win a national championship because that guy puts the work in. That guy put the work in. Everybody underneath him put the work in. And it's thanks to Coach Smith for, holding the bar up to those guys and letting them meet the standard and set the standard for every other 8-man team in this country.
And speaking of Tyler, congrats on signing with Shorter the other day.
I was going to say that. Congratulations.
Did you get to say anything?
Yep.
Big
College
congrats.
signing yesterday.
You'll face former Riverside punter Riley Hall every year.
That'll be a good rivalry. Daniel, for you.
Not that y'all be on the field at the same time.
Right.
But
So I've been playing football at Evangel for 7 years, since I was in 7th grade. Not 7 years, but
close. 6.
We have always played Ezekiel, and there's never been a team that's given more effort playing us, which is a testament to just how disciplined they are and just how much they really want to play us, and we want to play them just as much. And I've never really had a competition bigger than Ezekiel, which is just showing how great of a football program y'all have been over the years. And just you can see how the coaches love their players and the players love being there. And there's nothing better to see than players who really want to be on the field and really have that bond with their coach. And I'm thankful for the competition that they've given me in my time at Evangel. And it's really respectable that they've put in the work, and we know we'll see y'all in the state championship most years, and we work for each other. How iron sharpens iron, we're really going against each other, and it makes us all better men, better people.
For sure.
Coach?
Well, when I first got to Evangel, I'd never played or coached 8-man. I'd only saw one game. That's because my niece was a cheerleader at Evangel. So I had to bring in Don Murphy, who was a legend at Evangel in an 8-man football. He actually came to a couple of our practices and said, "This is how you do it." And then there was a guy named Neil, and I just lost Neil's last name. Harrison. That was the coach at Ezekiel. And Neil was always that way. He would talk to me and tell me things, and we always had a good battle. And then Hunter took over last year. And Hunter has took their program, and I'm not knocking anybody by any means, but he's took it to another level. He has, not just by the way he coaches, but by the athletes that they're bringing in.
Yep.
I mean, look, sitting there at that young man, that's not a normal, that kid, like you said a while ago, I don't know what he's working on in the gym. No, it's always been great competition, but the last 2 years, it's really stepped up. And I want to say that most people won't believe this or won't understand it, but Hunter and I speak probably 3 times a week.
Wow.
If I don't call him on Monday, he'll call me. Even the week we played, up until Thursday. Then I said, I ain't talking to him no more.
24-hour rule.
If he called me Thursday night, I'd have talked
Right.
It's a respect thing. We
Yeah.
know how good they are, and we know that it's going to be usually, I'm not knocking any teams, but that's usually the best competition that we see every year. And that we look forward to playing them because of that reason, and because we know, like Austin, they're going to give us everything. I tell our guys, every time we walk on the field, we're getting their best shot. You can believe it.
Yep.
And that's what we want.
Let's give a hand to all 4 of these guys for
Well,
great
they're
interview.
they're not
All
done
you guys.
yet.
I know they're
They're not done yet. Okay, so
you got one more. All right.
So all season, the whole thing is coaches want me to pick against them because then they have bulletin board material and they don't think you're going to win and all this. Okay, so we're going to settle this right now. Okay, you two are going to have a chug off. First one done. If you'll do it, and if your coaches are cool with it, it's water. You got to hydrate. You got a championship game tomorrow. You need to hydrate. Okay.
I thought you meant me and Hunter. I was about to say, what?
No, I knew that would be
I'd
unfair.
have to go
You've
back
got
to
experience, but
3
he's younger, so that's not cool. But so whoever wins, I will not pick your team. And then you can use that as bulletin board material.
He's literally just not going to touch
Because
the
I will,
water.
I will literally make a case as to why you will not win.
You guys want to do it? All right.
All right.
James, you want to handle play-by-play for this one?
No. Let me.
All right, Jack. All right, the
For
producer,
once.
producer Jack
Producer
Helwig
Jack.
has got play-by-play for this.
All
All
right.
right. All right. You guys got ready? All right. 3, 2, 1, chug.
I said Ezekiel starts off, and oh my goodness gracious!
And
There's still water in there.
Daniel
and gentlemen.
Viles has chugged it.
All right. All right.
So I guess we don't have to do the cap thing where
That
you put on
wasn't
the
even a
person's cap,
second.
huh?
There wasn't even no play-by-play could have been made. That was
So
like
I-
a one-turn round of ping pong.
yeah, that's trash.
So I guess we don't do the cap thing then, since we already know who you're
Yeah,
going to pick. huh?
exactly. That's
Okay.
fair. That's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again, all of you, for coming in. If you want to stick around and hear the picks and everything, that'd be great. But thanks all 4 of you for coming on the show. We appreciate
If
it.
not, it'd make things less awkward tomorrow. So unless you go back and listen.
That was a fraction of a second. I can't get over that.
I'm very
I wish you
impressed.
would film that for Instagram.
I thought about it.
I wish you. What was that?
He said abracadabra.
Yes.
Hey, can I say
Yes.
one thing?
Yes,
before we
sir.
do? I don't mean this wrong to any other teams in any state, but Hunter and I have talked about it. We are so proud that no matter who wins tomorrow, the trophy's going back to Alabama.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
Not only that, but to the ACSC as well. So
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be great. Yeah.
thank you guys
Hey,
for
Russell,
having us.
did you hear that?
Yes.
Russell.
Thank
All
y'all.
right.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you all.
Appreciate y'all.
It. Thank you. Thank you.
All
All right.
right.
Now, all right, gentlemen, it's time for our next segment with producer Jack Helwig and his hot takes for the week. So, go ahead, my friend.
All right, since
gonna-
everyone's now getting to leave. All right, since it's a special edition of Extreme Radio,
He's gonna do the full shout. Let's do it.
let's get into the sound off.
I thought he was gonna do something.
I'll do it really big for the last show.
All right.
Really big.
Perfect.
I'll do it
Perfect.
softy for this week.
That was really lame.
That was.
Do you want me to do it really loud?
Yeah.
Like
do it.
actually?
Do it.
All right. Go
Hit
ahead.
it.
Since
Let's
they're
do it. Come on,
leaving.
do it, do
Since
it, do
they're
it.
leaving, go ahead.
You
Okay,
got the
that's fine.
cutoff hoodie and everything.
Let's get into the sound off.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
All right.
Busted the microphone, but perfect.
I mean, that's fine. You wanted me to do loud. So, which game would you like me to talk about first?
Let's
and my
let's
hot
go
takes?
through. Let's go through in order. Let's start with Lancaster FCA.
We'll
If
come
you
get
have
barbecue
anything.
in a bit.
Yeah, they invited us to get barbecue.
So
We got that
I'm sorry,
after.
you said Lancaster, right?
We'll start with the forfeit game. Yeah.
I mean, it's really unfortunate for Lancaster. Is all I really have to say. I think it would have been a good game, good competition. I think FCA was going to come out on top regardless, because I think what James said earlier, Deuce Bragg against a good defense. I've made my comments earlier about how I think Deuce Bragg will play against a really on fire team that could create good pressure against him. And not saying they didn't play bad against CCS, but they're undefeated for a reason, and they're beating the team that they're playing in the championship coming up. So going into South Haven and Lighthouse, I don't think Lighthouse played bad until the game got on later and it was out of hand, but I can't really fault them for a game that was out of hand, because the main problem with them was they didn't capitalize on they didn't finish drives out as they should have, because the game
facts.
could have been a lot more competitive if they would have finished those drives, if they wouldn't have had these costly penalties, things like that. They basically beat themselves at the end of the day, and then South Haven said, all right, they're not showing up to play. We're going to show up to play at our own field. I mean, it's not like we're not going to.
Exactly.
I mean, you had a guy like Dang that had 3 carries, and then one of his carries he breaks 10 tackles with 8 people on the field. It just kind of goes to show. But I'm not knocking them completely, because it's just look forward from this, improve on it, restructure, bounce back hard. It's a team with potential. It's a team that I said was going to be a dark horse. They got there because of a forfeit, but they played as hard as they could have, in my opinion, because they had nothing to lose. They weren't supposed to be in there in the first place. Correct me if I'm wrong. So,
I mean, they did get into the playoffs. They got the job against Sacred Heart done before they were set to be in there. But it does bring up the question of should the divisions be restructured because of how last year the only team that was really a contender for the championship, according to James and them, was.
I don't think they need to be restructured. I think they're fine as they are. I mean, I think it's just an unfortunate season because of COVID. Because this wouldn't be a question if COVID-19 wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to restructure anything for a virus that's we can hope and pray to the Lord that will be gone in a year's time. We don't have to talk about. We don't know how the future is going to play out because right now we don't have a vaccine. But I don't think their vision should be restructured just because of a virus that's around for one season. Hopefully for only one season.
Whatever.
I hope so.
We can hope. So now let's get into why we're here in the first place in Panama City, the national championship, which I really want to talk about. So our very first game, we saw Ezekiel, we saw Providence. They both played good, except one team. And I think Providence just basically took a nail gun.
Who's Providence?
Southern Prep.
Southern Prep.
It's
wow.
week.
It's been a long day.
But I mean, if you want to talk about Providence, let's give them a shout out for winning their state championship last night.
Oh, what Providence? Which sport was that in? Is that volleyball or
football?
Football.
They're in the SCIFA.
Oh, Providence. Okay.
Providence, the Pack Panthers. Sorry,
Pack Panthers.
That's probably why I'm saying, because I saw that.
Wow. Yeah.
And,
the South Carolina Independent Football Association won their championship last night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Long weekend in Florida. I can't say I'm entirely exhausted because James, the one that was driving, took the brunt of it. Zach had the least amount of sleep. So the right team, Southern Prep. I'm gonna put this way. They basically took a nail gun and then shot themselves in the foot, and said, "Ow, that hurt."
Yeah.
And then shot themselves in the knee, and then they went higher and higher until it hit them in a part that I can't say live on air, and then it took them out for the count. So they put up 0 points, but I can't really be at fault. I mean, Ezekiel played out of their minds. They played good, but you can't tell me. We had the conversation that there's a lot of scores that got called back because of penalties. Mm-hmm. That's undisciplined football.
Yes.
And undisciplined football is shooting yourself in the foot. The game was 19 out of reach in the second half because, again, they shot themselves in the foot because so many penalties. And, we can say shoulda, woulda, coulda. In my book, a penalty that got called back, the play never happened. But since now I'm not a player, that rule doesn't apply to me anymore. That play happened. And you guys got to look at that. But I think you guys should use that as motivation. You guys could have competed against someone that I think is a hot championship contender, one of the best teams in Bama. You guys were the underdogs, and you guys got a tough, formidable match against the Tennessee Heat that I think is going to come out strong. Now we're going to talk about Evangel. I am not going to rag on the Tennessee Heat because the Tennessee Heat is a good football team. I don't know why they strove away from their game plan so early into the game when the game was 7-7, because they started off, Evangel scored, and then they just ran an offense that took them down 21-7, and they didn't stray away from the offense until the game was over, and that's the most frustrating part. And I think that they're not going to want to come back from Florida without winning a game. I think that's something that Coach Scott is not going to tolerate. I think him and his guys are really going to pull through. Evangel, there is nothing I can say bad about them in any way or shape or form. They played the most complete game, and I feel like every time I say that, a team plays a more complete game than the team before, but they're the most complete football team. Offense, defense, special teams, can play a full 48 minutes of football, can tackle, can
and
run
their
the football.
backups can show up and shut them down to one touchdown in a quarter, against starters in a quarter.
Yes, they're fantastic. They have depth, which is something that not all 8-man teams are fortunate enough to have.
Yeah.
Teams like Lighthouse that I feel like are rotating. How many guys are on Lighthouse's roster?
I think 13.
That's what I'm saying. So, but whenever they're there's no point in having depth whenever guys don't show up that are in the backups.
34 total on Evangel's roster, just speaking to that depth.
Yeah,
34.
it's so
There was
you
a
only
lot of
need
names to read
8
off on
guys.
PA yesterday. That's why I went so quick.
And Ezekiel is about the same number, something like that. But you were saying.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I think depth in this kind of game of football is one of the most underrated things, but depth doesn't mean anything when the guys that are on the sideline come into play and they don't show up to play the game. So it's amazing that guys can go in any second and be willing to play. I'll save all comments for the championship. I think that's all I have to say for the sound off.
That's all I have to say about that.
All right, perfect.
And then we will move.
Producer Jack, everybody.
Hey,
Producer Jack.
Can we? I'll say
Wait. Because this actually happened while the coaches were in here. Did you get an alert on your phone that Kyler Murray threw a Hail Mary to win the game against the
53
Bills?
yards.
53 yards of DeAndre Hopkins over 3 people.
Kyler Murray, man, he's fantastic.
I was saying Russell Wilson's going to win MVP, but
There's
a man in Arizona.
Russell Wilson only had 9 points
He's
for my
been
opponent.
terrible the past few weeks.
My opponent had DeAndre Swift, and that was like the best performance.
Who
Because
actually
even
won that?
like Jared Judy was terrible. Hawkinson was terrible.
Yep.
Who actually won the Rams game? Was it Seattle or Rams?
Rams.
I figure. Okay,
Wow.
I picked
23-16.
I picked Rams. So.
Russell threw 2 interceptions. Josh Jacobs, 29 points. Gibson, 22 points. Hunter Henry, 13. Matt Prater hit 2 50-yard field goals.
And then had like 16, was it?
You know what the best feeling is in fantasy? When you're like, man, I should have played this guy, and you actually didn't have to.
Yeah, it's
So anyway.
it's like whenever Justin Herbert dropped 38 and I benched him,
Right?
and then I still won by like 20 points.
All right, so
All right. Well, again, thank you, Producer Jack. Always good to get your thoughts on Sound Off.
sometimes.
Before we get into the picks, I just got to say, we are 7 days away from our broadcast season ending. It's pretty surreal. 7 days until we are done. It's going to be an amazing.
I'm glad we
7 days.
got through it, but I'm glad that the end's here.
We still have an
'Cause
All-American
I
game,
am
right?
hard.
Well,
Yes.
So it's not technically over.
Well,
Still
I'm
got
saying
one more.
7 days. 7 days. I mean, All American. I'm talking about a regular.
Seven
consistent
days
broadcast
until our week-to-week
Yep.
schedule is over,
Yep,
and then
week to
one
week.
special event.
Yep.
So
Yep, it's been special, and it continues with the national championship tomorrow and the consolation game tomorrow, as well as the state championship and bowl championship on Saturday, and all the preparation work that goes in that. And then we have the Extreme Radio finale next Sunday back in Tennessee. All right, James, it's time for us to do the
what was that
picks.
face?
I wasn't intentionally
Oh.
making a face, but it is time for our game picks. And rock, paper, scissors, my friend. Get your
Wait,
pick in there.
okay.
And
Tie.
scissors,
Tie.
paper,
Tie.
scissors,
Tie. Oh.
and scissors over paper, and then
And-
Zach.
I defer.
Yeah.
I see yours.
All right, James. We're gonna start out with the we're gonna start out with the TSIAA because those games are state, and we're gonna go national next. Is that cool with you?
I want to go national because there's no one in here.
You want to go in order?
Let's go
All right,
national.
all
Let's
right.
go in
Well-
order.
Well, Hank's in here. What do you mean nobody's in here?
Nobody's
For our
sitting
live
out
studio
there.
audience, ladies
Yeah,
and
that's-
gentlemen,
that's
everyone
it.
give us a round of applause.
No applause whatsoever. All right, fine. We'll go first with the games we're covering tomorrow. Let's start with the consolation game between Southern Prep, the number 12 seed overall in the NHSA rankings, number 4 coming into this tournament, against the number 3 seeded Tennessee Heat, who I believe was they were number 3 seed as well overall. So 3 versus 12. Southern Prep could not get a single touchdown on Ezekiel. The Tennessee Heat got They got 2 touchdowns on Evangel. This is one of those games that should be interesting. Sets up for a decent consolation game. At the end of the day, somebody's going to come out with someone's going to come out with hardware tomorrow, and it's the third place champion will either be Southern Prep or the Tennessee Heat. James, you go in Tennessee or you go in?
So I'll say
Southern
this: the
Prep?
Tennessee Heat have not played the one time they played a team with this much talent this season was Ezel Harding, and they struggled against them. They had to throw a touchdown 4 seconds left to win. I'm thinking back through their lineup. Freedom was good, but they've struggled with teams that had like legit talent. That is good when they don't make mistakes. Okay. Southern Prep, obviously, we saw all the struggles. We saw the mistakes yesterday. But,
I don't know.
is that cool to give that? Okay.
We just breaking news.
Breaking news. This game will not be predicted. This game will not have anything. Tennessee Heat Southern Prep is canceled.
Oh, that's officially canceled. Is there a reason for that, or is it just canceled according to the news we just got?
That's the news I just got.
Do we want to get a statement?
That's your call.
Do you want to get a statement? No. Okay.
No.
Southern Prep Tennessee Heat is unfortunately canceled, so no consolation game. That's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. So national championship still happening at 3:00 tomorrow. 3:00. Okay. So
You
no.
sure we don't want to do 12?
Will we?
No.
So we're not flexing.
So 3:00 tomorrow. That's unfortunate.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Fair.
All right. 3:00. 3:00. Only a national championship tomorrow, so that game won't be predicted. Okay. So let's go. If that game were to be played, who was your pick?
Oh, Southern Prep, 100%.
Southern
Oh,
Prep.
my guy. I was with you all the way.
Okay. Zachary.
Heat. I was gonna take the Heat.
That's
Okay.
fair. That's
Got
fair.
any reason?
We'll take the Heat. Oh, the reason why is yes, they got crushed by Evangel, but there were 7, 8, 9 times where the Heat just off the fingertips wide open. I mean, easy touchdowns. It wasn't like the Heat were completely dominated the whole game. Yes, the score says they were dominant, but I mean, the Heat were in it if they actually completed those passes.
Yeah. Well, and the argument you can make, too, is now that they've gotten the one game under their belt, these guys, and at this stage, moving on and then seeing what their opponent did Saturday as well, you could make the argument that, hey, they're going to be able to step up to the pressure.
And let's not forget, the Heat are the number 3 team in the country for a reason.
Yeah.
Yes, they looked bad yesterday, but that could have been nerves. First time in Florida, first time playing in a national tournament like this.
Imagine what
I mean,
they'll look like next year if they come back.
Next year, oof.
That'll be interesting.
Well, they are losing quite a few seniors this year.
That is true. That is true.
But the experience is the big thing.
That's true.
The
That's fair.
experience.
Yep. Yeah, you have the experience now. Producer Jack?
My thoughts on why I think I'm just gonna say this. I think that Tennessee Heat, you were making the case of drop passes. I'm gonna make the case shoulda, woulda, coulda. You said the case that they couldn't catch COVID. I think they couldn't catch a cold in the winter. I don't think things. I just don't think.
What was the exact phrase you used?
Couldn't catch a cold in the winter in a hospital.
Oh.
Listen, I'm just saying I would rather take penalties that are called back because those are easy fixes. You can't teach a guy to catch the football.
And also,
That's a
you
no.
can.
That is all.
Don't
they're in
forget,
there. That is in their head right
Southern
now.
Prep had their fair share of drops too. Southern
True.
Prep had 5, 6, 7 plays where it was just a quick out, and it just
Then
goes
why are you
right from
picking
your-
Southern Prep if they
Because the
drop
Heat,
balls?
If you line up Heat versus Southern Prep, position by position, Heat has the advantage.
Yes.
I mean, Heat. Look, okay, Heat played Evangel, yeah, and I know Southern Prep played Ezekiel, but Ezekiel dominated that whole game.
Tell me this. Which quarterback looked better, Corley or Wolf? Wolf, 100%.
Don't tell me. Don't. Zach.
I mean, I'm going Corley.
Oh, you just made the prediction.
have
Producer's
lost
walking
producer
off the
Jack.
stage.
Mike
He's pulling a Stephen A. Smith. He's saying, "I'm done. I'm done."
I mean, yes, a lot of his passes,
Y'all need me, I'll
Wolf's
be across the
passes were
street.
dropped. A lot of his passes were dropped, but I mean, Wolf.
He's just walking off the set.
I mean, Wolf had
Oh,
multiple
man.
passes where he just missed wide open receivers, and he didn't even. I mean, he missed receivers that were 20, 30 yards open.
Right.
So it's not
Oh,
like.
man.
I mean, yes, you can say Corley looked a little worse. That's also because he was facing 2, 3, 4 guys in his face at all times.
Jack's just looking at you from across the way, disappointed.
I think the
He's coming back.
I think the big reason why Corley looked
No,
not
hang on.
as good as usual.
Wait. Here he comes. Shh. Dun, 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 dun. I was doing the Stone Cold music.
I think the reason
Okay.
why I think the reason why Corey didn't look his usual self is they didn't come in like they usually do. It looks like misdirection, and I mean, I think Corey looks a lot better yesterday.
He's waiting for you. He's waiting for you. You got a rebuttal before we move on?
I'm just.
Let's move on.
I feel defeated.
Let's move on, gentlemen.
Okay.
Let's move on.
All right. So the actual only game that will occur tomorrow at 3 p.m. is a champion will be crowned for the national title. Number 1 seeded Ezekiel Academy Knights. The number 2 seeded Evangel Christian School Lightning. James, I know your reasoning for picking their team is because of the bottle jug of how you wouldn't pick their team if they were successful. So
No, that just helped me make the decision. I can make a case for either way.
that is true. You can make
Yeah.
a case for one. But James, the man who only missed about 15 games this year on his preseason predictions,
Yeah.
and the guy who's been what is your record in the postseason? Have you only taken? I think.
I have the best record in the postseason.
I picked CCS to beat Lancaster.
Okay, so 0-1.
I picked
Then you
South
pick,
Haven to beat
Mhm.
Lighthouse.
and then you
1-1.
picked the Heat to win. You picked the
Yeah,
Heat
I
to
picked the
win.
Heat to win, and I
1-2.
picked.
And then you
You picked Ezekiel.
Ezekiel.
So you're 2-2. You're 500 at least week to week. But James, who is going to walk out, bring a championship back to Alabama to the ACSC? Who is going to bring a national championship back?
So here's what I'll say. Ezekiel in their game with Southern Prep, we've gone over it. Slow start in the first quarter. I mentioned that as the game went on, they got hot. They picked up the pace. They kind of hit their stride, and that's how you want to go into a game. And that's cool and all. Evangel didn't have to do that. Evangel was able to just come right out and go.
But they were losing.
Oh,
Evangel
yeah,
was
like
losing.
after one touchdown that they scored on the opening drive,
But I mean,
and then after that, the Heat only had to kick off
To
one.
clarify, Evangel scored on their opening drive as well. So
Yeah.
back
yes.
Yeah.
So Ezekiel, I don't understand the cold start. They had the ball for the first 6 minutes of the game,
It was 0-0 at the end of the first quarter.
but they had the ball for the first 6 minutes of the game. So yes, they
Ezekiel,
didn't
yeah.
score. There was
They
only,
had it for 6 minutes. They didn't.
There was only 3 possessions that first quarter.
Guess what? He scored on their second play.
So you could say that Evangel came out slow.
No, because
they didn't receive the ball. If they
Yeah.
had come out, I'm just trying to make sure you're
Evangel scored on
understanding
their
here,
opening
yeah.
drive, as did the Heat, and then Evangel able to answer back with a touchdown, and then to answer back with like 4 more touchdowns.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
answered back. But James,
So yeah, I'm just saying, Evangel didn't have to get going in the second half and get up and running. They were there already.
Yep.
And so you combine their ability to jump out and get ahead of the game, the 35-7 at halftime, combine that with Ezekiel with a slow start and then getting up and rolling, I think it makes for an interesting game. But I think just by a hair, because I did see some drops and some bad passes for Ezekiel. Okay, I did. They hit some long balls.
I'm not smirking because of what you said. I'm smirking because of the team you mentioned, because I think I know what's going to go down.
They hit some long balls, but there were also some. That's the other thing. The Heat weren't able to hit any long balls yesterday against Evangel, so that issue may be negated tomorrow when Ezekiel tries to do that, because Evangel's right there. Okay. All that being said, I'm taking the Evangel Christian School Lightning 3-time national champion, defending
So wait, let me ask this question.
the reigning,
So
undefeated, undisputed
Well, not undefeated.
Well, they're not undefeated, but in Europe,
in NHSA.
In NHSA, yes.
in Europe, in soccer leagues, UEFA Champions League and Europa League, if they win 3 years in a row, they get to keep the trophy. So do they get to keep the trophy?
Well, yeah, every year they get to keep the
Oh.
trophy. Like if you go to the
Yeah, there's
school
a new
right now to their
trophy.
trophy case, there's 2 of them on there already.
Well, that's not fun.
All right, Zachary, you
Oh,
take
Go Jack.
This isn't hockey.
No,
It's
no,
not the
no.
Stanley Cup.
I actually want to hear what you have to say first.
No.
before
He defers.
Okay, then you two
okay,
rock
then-
paper
then we
scissors.
rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors. Okay, rock, paper, scissors. And paper over rock. And
Fair enough.
defer.
You defer?
Yeah, I defer.
Okay, fair enough. There's no way for this to end in a tie.
That is true.
Now, do we want to make a bet on whether this game goes to overtime?
I wouldn't.
Well, I don't
no,
gamble, but you guys can.
I don't think it goes to overtime.
I don't think so either. I think the winner is going to be decided in
Well, you wouldn't have
regulation
thought the
time.
game last year went to overtime either, but it did.
No, I will. To be
Not
fair,
one
I
overtime.
Huh?
Not one
I knew
overtime.
nothing about it, so I probably wouldn't. I don't know. All I'm going to say is it's going to be very close. It's going to be the team that's going to show up a full 48 minutes,
Big facts.
and they're number 1 seed for a reason. I'm going to take Ezekiel.
Okay.
All right.
I think, as much as I want the Michael Jordan dream to happen in 3P, I think that Ezekiel came here to play this weekend, and it took a second to get started, but they have the rolling momentum to get going. I think that they have the play on offense, defense, and everything like that. I think there's some things that could go their way. I think they have to play a full 48 minutes to win. Otherwise, Evangel can capitalize and win the game. But I have faith that Ezekiel's guys came to Florida ready to play.
Zachary, you're the deciding vote on this. It's split.
So a big key to watch for the next game is Evangel did really well controlling Aldrich. Aldrich didn't really have any of those big runs, and Spackman is running back a lot like Aldrich. So that's going to be another key in this game.
He's just bigger and better.
And Carter Sutton hardly did anything in yesterday's game.
Yes, but the thing with the Heat yesterday was, yes, Evangel did a good job in the secondary, making sure a lot of interceptions and everything. But there was times where there was wide open Heat wide receivers, and they just weren't thrown to him for some reason.
Let me back up because we mentioned Aldrich and Sutton not doing anything. This isn't. I'm not saying they're bad players.
No, it's because of that Evangel
I'm not
defense.
downplaying a minor. I'm not degrading a teenager.
Yeah.
I'm saying your performance was not what we expected of you, given your history throughout the season. And let's just clarify that, because I already know Karen is going to come after me. Yeah. Saying, hey, you're trashing teenagers. That's not the case.
With that being said, that also shows how good these players actually are.
Exactly.
That's showing that we have so much respect.
We have such a level, such a bar.
Yes.
That we're like, we expect them to play at this level, and then they don't. And it's like, man, come on, you're better than this.
But it was that Evangel defense that really hindered the Heat from being so successful in last night's game.
Evangel is, like we said, they come here every year. The past 2 years, they've won national champions. Your juniors have.
Or two years, and then this is
so.
The year.
Your juniors have never lost a national championship. They have never been able to be to say, well, we weren't national champions this year.
And Daniel Viles sitting right there.
He's been there since 7th grade.
Well, he finished in 7th grade. They didn't play for NHSA until 3 years ago when he was a sophomore. Mm-hmm. So guys like him have never lost.
Yeah.
Guys like Jet Lodge have never lost.
So I would be wondering how do you get your guys, not to come in kind of like say, hey, we've already won 2 of these. How do you keep motivation?
It's like I was talking to a coach earlier, and he was like, man, I'm nervous about tomorrow. I said, that's the best feeling as a coach or a player that you can have. When you're coaching a player and you roll into the game and you're like, yo, I'm worried about how to, not feel like we got this in the bag. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you're coaching a player and you're like, man, I'm really nervous about tomorrow. I got butterflies. That's when you know you're about to take that right hook and right there.
And
I mean, it's not going to happen, whoever. It's going to happen for Evangel, but.
Mm-hmm. So you have the number 1 and number 2 teams playing off against each other. Yep. You have 2 teams from the same conference who've already played each other once, and Ezekiel came out on top of that one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if I'm Evangel, I didn't win my state championship. So they came out in the first game against the Heat yesterday, wanted to show that, hey, we belong here. Because you could be like, oh, well, they didn't win the national championship. No,
they didn't win their state championship.
Why are they here? Yeah. But their team is so good, and there's so much respect between the 2 coaches that, it's great to see.
It could be a 2017 situation where CCS beat South Haven in the regular season, and then the championship, South Haven won by 3.
Yeah, I mean.
And then they went on to win a national championship
CCS
not against
did.
the same team.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
they beat Russell.
With that being said, looking at these 2 teams, they stack up well against each other. Yep. It's a dream matchup really for a national championship. But with that being said, I'm taking Ezekiel.
Okay, that's fair.
So you're the lone wolf on this one, James. You're taking Evangel. You took them last year.
And both. So neither of you. So do you guys want to make it an actual bet, like whether it goes to overtime or not?
No.
Well, what will we be betting?
I will. Let me say one thing.
You want to bet a bang on it?
I bet a bang.
Yes.
Like I just buy you a bang, you buy me a bang.
Right.
Hey,
okay. That's just a harmless.
No. Okay, that's fair.
Let me say one thing real quick.
Do you want it on this?
No. But let me say one thing real quick. With Evangel yesterday, when the Heat did start lining up, instead of doing all the misdirection plays and just running right at them, doing what they usually do, they were moving the ball pretty well.
Right.
It wasn't like Evangel just completely shut them down. They were moving the ball. They just weren't able to finish drives until the 3rd and 4th quarter, where everyone knew the game was over. They just weren't able to do anything. The turning point in that game was when Evangel stopped the Heat on 4th and 1.
Right.
So, with that being said, I just think Ezekiel has it.
Okay.
It's not gonna be a blowout.
That's fair.
It's not gonna be a blowout.
No.
I firmly believe that too. It is going to be a close game. It's hard to beat a team twice in the same season. You see that at all professional
Except
levels.
Ezel Harding did it last year.
That is true. That's what I'm saying. It is hard. I'm not saying it's impossible. Why do you think it took them to overtime and by a 2-point conversion for Evangel to have that happen?
Well, I was talking about Ezel Harding CCS last year, but
Well, yeah, he's already CCS.
but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It was a struggle
Yeah.
in the second game, and that's the thing too is they played earlier in the. Well, no, that doesn't work because Ezekiel beat them. I was gonna say if they had beat Ezekiel, it would have been a blowout.
Right.
But,
yeah.
okay.
It's difficult. So I'm in the same boat with you, Zachary. It is going to be close. I don't think it's going to be lopsided as we've seen the semis. And I hate that we are not seeing that consolation game because it was going to be 2 great games tomorrow. I think at Southern Prep he would have been fantastic, and you hate that it's canceled. But okay, moving along. So moving along, we go to the Tennessee State Independent Athletic Association bowl game, essentially, with the Division II title, and then the state championship in Division I. So we start with Franklin Classical and Riverside Christian. Both teams essentially 29 days rest, almost a full month in 30 days rest before they go into this Division II championship. And a game that, these teams, they had canceled games, and it's unfortunate to see that they have so much rest and not playing as much. And hopefully you and producer Jackal, see a good game because with both teams, especially Classical having a losing record and Riverside in the division as well with a losing record, it's tough. But at the end of the day, James, we got to make a prediction. So who do you think is coming out as essentially TSIAA Bowl champions in that Division II?
I already
game?
know James' prediction. I'm just getting ready for this.
You get ready to walk off?
No.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. Because that's, I know, I promise.
That's right, we did.
Yeah. I'll let you do your thing so you can.
Okay, let's check.
So who you got, James?
I am actually, like you said, it's hard to beat a team twice, and I don't think it'll happen. Franklin Classical, Isaiah Austin.
My guy, we're with the same boat.
Congratulations to Isaiah Austin on being selected as a coach for the All-American games as well. I believe Coach Tim Smith is also coaching in that eight-man game.
So it's like co-coach situation.
Yeah, co-coach. It's Smith and Coach
Smith
Wilson.
and Wilson on one team, Isaiah and then the Pack Panthers coach on the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so congratulations to them on getting those jobs. But you think
his name momentarily.
But you think Classical is going to be Riverside?
I think Classical comes out and just lays the smackdown.
Yep.
They're going to have a lot of guys back, a couple of guys back too, that they didn't have maybe for that first matchup or for later on in the season.
See, and here's the thing about this. It's going to be interesting to see what the motivation is for each team. Like y'all said, Classical has players coming back, and that could be a big factor in this game. But Riverside, with Crutcher Ezel and all the players they have, I just think they come in more motivated. I think Classical is going to give them a good fight. It's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be we're going to have another good game, but I'm going to take Riverside.
Alan Gleaton is the coach for Providence, by the way. That'll be alongside Isaiah.
So for you, I know you kind of said it, but officially.
Yeah, I'm officially saying Classical. I think that, listen, like, I'm not doubting Riverside and thinking they're a bad team. I just think that Coach Austin knows how to hype his guys up, and I think they're going to come out full swing, left, right. I think they're going to come out Mike Tyson versus any person that faced Mike Tyson in his prime and completely lay out a hammer in the first round and come out strong. Because here's the thing. I'm expected to see a lot of just plays that they wouldn't expect to run, just anything in order to get the win, because I can feel that's what Coach Austin is going to – he's going to want to just do anything possible in order to win, and I like that mentality.
This will be an alls-to-the-wall game.
Yeah, and how can you not, like, pick that and root for that, because that's what's favorable is, like, the unexpectancy of Coach Austin in order just to win this D2 to, have motivation going into next season. So –
yeah, and let's fingers crossed that nobody calls it a state championship. All right, Division I championship. This is the final game of the 8-man football season, at least for us before the All-American games and for the rest of the region. At least the last 8-man football game for any teams.
Single team.
Single teams.
Yeah, exactly.
I am so glad that we made the decision to do that Franklin Christian South Haven game. We were originally looking at some other contest that weekend. I can't remember which one it was. No, I told you we should go do that.
No,
that was the
that was a discussion. It was that was their first game.
I think it might have been Franklin Classical versus.
Let me see. Hang on, I got you.
Franklin Classical versus Ezel.
I know he says I got you, but I'm still going to look at it.
We were you wanted us to do
Originally we were going to do, I think, no. So
Lighthouse at Riverside.
I think we were
Yeah,
originally going to do that to give Lighthouse a Riverside game. I told you, even though it's back-to-back weeks of Franklin Classical or Franklin Christian, we should cover it because first-time coaches, first matchup back between the two, and all that stuff. We discussed it. That's how we do. That's how we do every week. I'm not trying to stick anything to you, man. I know you're busting me, but okay. I'm so glad we did that game because not only we were there for the first and we're there for the last, but the storylines incredible going into this matchup. South Haven was up 18-0 going into halftime. Manny Deng was gassed because of how many touches he had on the ball, and because
you had Drew Atkinson cramping up all game.
He was cramping up
because he had COVID. He got sick, so he was dehydrated. So he was trying to rehydrate and get going.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, he was dehydrated and such. And then Crawley towards the second half, he was trying to find options and just couldn't get him there. Shaka Hill's defense stepped up. They shut him out 23-0 in the second half.
Yeah, I don't want to downplay what Shaka's guys did.
Shaka's did what Coach Johnson, Casey Jorgensen on his offensive coordination was incredible. Dooley, as you mentioned, the most consistent quarterback in the league. It has been that game was so incredible to see that 23-18 comeback where at halftime Zach and I looked at each other and we said, this game's over. We thought this game was completely over, and then it turned around. But again, you have two first-time coaches.
But to be fair, it took until 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter to do it, or a couple minutes left in the third quarter to do it.
That is true. It took time to build a great story in that. But
to be fair, the reason we said that to each other was this was the first time that both of these coaches were coaching their first 8-man game, so we didn't know
as much about their adversity. Yep.
Yes,
exactly.
That's fair.
So that's why we said it wasn't.
And and at that point, we didn't expect Manny Dang to be completely shut down second half.
Yeah. But again, the storylines paint themselves so incredibly. Two first-year head coaches, Sawyer's being involved with the program for so many years. Johnson, who was unsure earlier in 2020 if he was going to have a head coaching job because he was looking, and Hugh Harris, Wayne Smith, the athletic director over, they looked and they said we wanted to recruit you as our head coach, and he has made that culture. And no disrespect towards Coach Adams, it's the same thing as Coach Smith said to Hunter. He's taken that program to a whole new level. And
nothing but great things from the guys
of
to
course,
say about him.
Yeah. Every coach that we have talked to has said that he is a great coach. And Coach Sawyer is involved with South Haven for several years. He's been around there, and of course Zimmerman's still on the supporting cast for South Haven, so that makes it better. You've got Dooley, who's been with Franklin Christian since about 7th, 8th grade in various sports, and as you mentioned again, most consistent quarterback in the TSIAA against Andrew Crawley, who was a freshman and got reps in that state championship in 2017. So he's had championship experience. Emmanuel Dang against Asa Sheets, both amazing seniors who have been supporting on their program for several years. We've covered them. And again, 2017 state champions, 2015 state champions. I mean, technically 2016, but do with that what you will. But I'm digressing because the storylines are so great for me looking as a play-by-play guy.
And you're not even mentioning like the best matchup of the game, Alex Martinez versus Andrew Hasley in the kickoff.
That is true. Yeah, the kickoffs,
like
and
they're both kickers,
and they both have the ability to do extra
they're
points.
Both
which
wide receivers. They both kick extra points.
Yeah.
I mean, I give the edge to Hasley in terms of playing receiver because he had a couple touchdowns in that first game, and he's had a great season. But I mean that's like the least talked about storyline that I'm keeping an eye on is the kickoff.
Well, yeah, because you love kickoffs and field goals. You love seeing that in high school.
Well, I'm calling it kickoff because they're both kickers and
they're both amazing kickers. Yeah, and
kickoff too actually because they can both boot it deep.
Yeah, and of course, 2015 state champions, technically 2016, depends on how you do it with the co-champions, and then 2017 with South Haven having that incredible run to go and win the state championship.
And the thing about kickers, they're so underrated, especially in this game right now. We're having this Saturday. Though the starting positions for both teams is going to be critical because both defenses are strong. Both offenses are just as strong, but it's going to be a high-scoring game, of course, but it may come down to one or two defensive stops. And if your kicker can pin them deep inside the 20, then all of a sudden it makes it that much harder for their offense to score.
You're exactly right. So I'm really excited to call this game. I know Zachary is. I know Jack is excited to see a really good game, and we cannot wait. By the way, it is at 7:00 p.m. on Friday, 2 and 7 for the TSIAA games. At 7:00, we're going to see a champion crowned for the state title, and we're excited to see it. So, Mr. Shannon, I'd be interested to see what your prediction rate is, what your percentage is. They're doing something without telling me. But, Mr. Shannon, your record in the championships, I'd be interested to see what it is since 2017, your prediction rate. On who did you predict in 17?
Probably 100. I don't remember. I've slept since then.
18. Let's see. 18, I think you picked Webb. I'm pretty sure in 18 you picked Webb. 19, I know you picked Ezel Harding. And 2017, I think you picked CCS. I'm pretty certain you picked CCS. So you are 3-0 right now in state championships.
If I picked Webb, I'm 2-1.
Oh, sorry, you're 2-1. So 2-1. So you are 66% good out of 3 picks. So James, you're standing up, and producer Jack is standing up. So I don't know what's going to happen.
He stood up first in my defense.
All right, go do what it is you got to do to give me your picks.
Okay. Crawley, the most accurate quarterback.
Okay.
In the league this year. Best being Deuce Bragg. Most consistent, most reliable being Zach Dooley. So there's that. Like you said, Mandy Dang versus Ace Sheets. Drew Atkinson versus, I would say, I kind of hate that I can't think of another receiver for FCA. Give me one.
Let's see if I can pull up the roster real quick on this.
Cue the Jeopardy music.
Sad thoughts. Did you have to bring that up, sir?
Ooh. Did y'all hear the voice crack?
No.
FCA
Oh,
Falcons.
yesterday?
No, today.
Oh,
From Spencer, yes.
Would you say Hasley as a receiver?
Yes.
Or there's also Davis Carpenter.
Davis Carpenter. Thank
There you
you.
go.
Thank you. So, Atkinson versus David. Listen, it's not because I don't know who you are or because I forgot. Okay?
It's been a long weekend.
Okay. So, Crawley, Dooley, Dang, Sheets, Davis, or Carpenter, Atkinson. Okay?
Mhm.
And then you go to the defensive side of the ball, okay, for FCA, and the names that are there. For South Haven, I would say it kind of drops off. Like, you got those 3, and then Martinez. But other than that, it drops off. But I think you have some guys step up Saturday that didn't step up in that first game.
Yep.
And part of it is a pride thing. That's why I'm taking the South Haven Christian School Patriots, your 2020 TSIAA state champions.
I have a question.
Let's answer it.
Can we start calling it TSIAA?
Yes.
TSIAA.
Because
Yes.
if you keep saying
I'm a fan.
TSIAA, and especially when you have TSSAA, especially in your same state, it just the double.
You
makes
could
it
say
sound more
Psi
official.
double A. You
No.
can say Psi double A.
And I guess we got to quit calling it TISA because we got schools on their social media
Saying
pages actually
TISAA,
spelling it
yeah. They're misspelling it.
TISAA.
They're misspelling it. They don't even know what their state association is.
I guess not.
All right. Is you taking your pick next, producer Jack, or Zach?
Yeah.
All right.
And everything that you said, I feel the exact opposite, so I'm going to go FCA.
Okay.
Or FC. Or, yeah.
Franklin Christian. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I think defense wins games. I think they have the better defense. I'm going to leave it as simple as that and let the game talk for itself.
I also like the fact that South Haven was able to get a game in last night or Friday night,
Yes.
and they haven't been off for 5 weeks.
Well, I mean,
I get that FCA is 8-0 because I will give you the forfeit wins with CCS and Lancaster. I'll give you those.
Yep.
You don't get the other one, so you're 8-0.
And the only other storyline I'll mention: Crawley versus Hill as long tenured coordinators with
exactly.
the program. So, Zachary, your pick for the state championship.
So that long layoff is what's really key in my mind, making up who wins this game. So Franklin Christian came out early the first game, and they came out early, and they struggled early. So they came out slow, especially so it was the first game of the season. Yes, you're gonna come out slow and everything, but being off for 5 weeks is like coming back into your first game. And if you're FCA this game, you cannot come out slow because South Haven has grown stronger as an offense. That first game, all it was all Manny Dang the whole game. It was all Manny Dang, and then once you shut him down, you shut down the offense.
Yep.
And
That's what I'm saying. You're going to have other guys Saturday night step
exactly.
up.
What you saw Friday night was Manny Dang not play much. He had 3 carries, and they still dominated Lighthouse.
I want to see if their stats are up. Because
So,
I want to give some of these young men recognition.
Yeah.
So, that being said, I think SCA comes out a little slow. In this, I mean, it's not anything that they could have done about it. It's just a long layoff because of COVID and everything. So
okay, no. To be fair, a couple weeks ago, they could have played the Tennessee Heat, and they turned it down.
That's true. That's true.
That is true.
But
Just throwing that out there too.
well, that means that you don't really want to play a team as physical as the Tennessee Heat before going into a playoff run.
No, that's no. You can't be saying no.
Okay, but with that being said,
You want to play a team that physical because you want to give your guys someone to hit.
Yeah,
other than each
I
other.
agree with Spencer.
I understand that, but what happens if you
With
come
Spencer?
away? What happens if you
Oh
come
my
away
God,
with
I'm
an
not
injury
even
with
Jameson.
Dooley? What happens if Dooley gets hurt or he becomes 50% coming into this championship game or into this playoff run?
I mean,
They
that's a
still win.
fair point, but that's a chance you have
Because
to take.
Because they were going to play.
Because you can have that happen in practice.
Okay,
you
well,
can,
we-
you can have guys get hurt in practice
That's
from a
true.
hit.
That's true. That's true.
So
But going into this game, I think the long layoff from SCA is going to actually hurt them. And this isn't going to be a 23-18 game. This is going to be a high-scoring game. And
Yeah.
I just don't think
See, I
SCA comes
disagree
out.
about that.
I don't think
I do
SCA
too.
comes out and I think they come out a little slow. I think Southampton's going to punch them in the mouth early. And with SCA being, and no, they've been punching them out before, and they've been able to come back, especially this first game.
Yep.
But they're not going to be able to do that this time. I think Southampton's strong start is going to give them this win.
All right. And the storyline does paint as well. It's 17 for South Haven's state championship run. They lost to CCS in the regular season, and that was their only loss in 2017. Faced them again in the state championship and won. So now their only loss to Franklin Christian might be able to change.
A couple guys I want to call out for the Patriots. Isaac Taylor, at running back.
Yep.
Noah Starnes as a receiver.
Yes.
Yep.
Has absolutely blown up.
Yes.
And he had a great night the other night. I mentioned Martinez can do some stuff as a receiver. He's had a little bit slower year, but definitely Taylor and Starnes.
Yep.
And then on defense, Ben Sordo has had an absolutely
he's
huge
been great.
year.
Yes.
Along with Starnes and Isaac Taylor.
Yeah.
So those are some guys that I think you could see step up next Saturday. Starnes has had 4 interceptions on the season.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
All right. Well, we've gone on longer than an hour and a half. Great show, though. It
There
was
was
great.
a lot
Again,
of stuff to talk
No,
about. We
yeah.
had an
No,
interview,
yeah.
like
That's
a
what I'm saying,
30-minute interview.
Yeah, we had a great interview. Thanks again to Coach Wilson, Austin Gay, as well as Coach Smith and Daniel Viles for coming on the show and giving us some insight in leading up to the national championship. Appreciate that.
You got something?
Let's. I was about to get the shout-outs, but yeah.
I read the YouTube comments, and I saw that Thompson started the Tennessee Titans defense, and I don't feel sorry for you, okay? Why would you start the Tennessee Titans defense when it's one of the
James
worst
started
third down
Tennessee.
I
defenses
started
in the
Tennessee's
league?
defense
I don't
too.
feel sorry for you either.
Well, I also didn't complain about it.
All right.
But
You ready to
I
cue
mean,
us up?
One last
shout-outs?
thing. See, one last thing for shout-outs. James, you got any shout-outs?
What, Bang Energy?
No shout-outs. No free shout-outs. No, I want to shout out
Coach
Antonio
Wilson.
Gibson.
I'll shout out Coach Wilson for getting us bangs.
Yeah,
That's fair. I
Okay.
think I did
Zachary's
that
got
earlier.
his.
though.
Okay. yours?
I want to give a shout out. Like I said again, Pack Panthers winning their state championship last night.
Yep.
I also would like to give a shout out to Antonio Gibson and Josh Jacobs
Yep.
for coming through clutch. And that's it.
Zach, is your only
Oh,
one?
I got one more. I want to get and not because he's standing right there. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Hank St. Dennis, putting us up for the app for the weekend.
Yep.
Meals.
Just one of the greatest coordinators.
Actually letting us in the
I've
press box.
Yeah, one of the
Yes.
greatest coordinators I've ever worked with. By
Yes,
far,
definitely.
By far, and again, not just because he's standing right here, but that's I've worked with a lot of people running athletic organizations. That's one of the best that I've worked with. But
So anyways.
Coach Wilson, you said anybody else?
Kyler Murray, thank you so much. Gave me that 32 points. Went from supposed to lose by 30 to winning by 15. So
I was supposed to lose by 20, and then those two went off. So
Yes.
there you go.
All
Matt
right.
Prater hit 250
Producer,
yarders.
all right, producer Jack. Anybody before we get out of here?
can you Drake?
No, because I got him off my team a while ago. Absolutely nobody. Shout out to myself for putting me in a situation to get myself for playoffs. I'm ready for the outro.
Hey, I was 1-5. Now I'm 5-5. I've had a
Again.
4-game win streak.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
All right. You got the
And I got to
theme?
play my brother next week.
All right.
Better
well,
beat him.
All right. Well, let's go ahead. That'll do it for. As soon as he gets the outro out, that'll do it for Extreme Radio, presented by GracePointe Healthcare and sponsored by Jets Pizza of Springfield, Fort Campbell, Clarksville, and Goodlettsville. For James, Zachary, Jack, I'm Spencer Thompson. Tune into the National Championship tomorrow and the TSIAA State Championship and Bowl game on Saturday.
See ya!